This is season 9, episode 21, number 369 of the Decoded podcast. I missed you last week, bro. I missed doing this last week, but I was in Niagara Falls on Clifton Hill, living large with my son and some of my buddies. So, I mean, the flip side, I had a great time away from the cast, but I wanted to talk, man. Saturday mornings, this is what we do. We talk about all kinds of stuff.
Catharsis.
I missed that. And even the hotel room I was in, when I know I told you, hey, I'm not going to be able to cast, but when we got into the room, I checked out the layout, and it wasn't a good layout. Like, it wasn't. If we were in a suite, then I could see, like, Will would be in the bedroom and I'd be on the farthest corner away from him and casting. But anyway, yeah, in terms of timing, it would have been good because we do it so early that by the time we're done, people are waking up, getting ready for breakfast and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I missed you. And there are a couple of things I want to talk about today, or I'd love to talk about. But
let's do it, brother. Let's do it.
How are things on your end? Good?
Yeah. Trippy. I don't have anything specific that like I feel like I got it covered today. There's a few things that kind of popped up throughout the week. Like I got a bunch of randoms. So it's kind of like I can be the seasoning on the stuff that no, you know what I mean? Like if there's things that you know for sure, you're like, yeah, you know what? I think I want to dig into this. I'm happy to dig in. And yeah, I'm happy to dig in.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, good morning, Gary.
Morning, Gary.
Welcome to the cast. Hope you had a good week, Gary. I'm going to say, and I think I may have told you this in one of the polos, there was something about this week. I just wanted to get through this week. I had a good week. Like, I know I told you my family here at home is sick, but aside from the family being sick, work was fine. I had a great work week. Lots of working, lots of action, lots of reflection. But there was just something about it. I just didn't want to go, I guess. Just wanted the week to come to an end. And so, yeah, every night I was going to bed like a really good time, waking up early as I normally have to go to work. And last night I went to bed at my regular time. Bro, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, couldn't go back to sleep.
You've been up since 2:30? Ish?
Yes and no. Like, so 2:30, I literally bounced out of bed and I'm like, I guess I was dreaming. I thought that the smoke alarm had gone off. Like, sometimes, I don't know what kind of smoke alarms you have, but it didn't go off like there's a fire, get out of bed, constant ringing. It was like I thought it had made a sound and said something.
Yep.
So I got out of bed and I went downstairs, got some water, just kind of looked around the house to make sure all was good, and was like waiting, staring up at this thing. Like, are you going to talk to me? Are you going to tell me if there's a problem? And it didn't. So I'm like, okay, obviously I was dreaming that. I go back to my bed, I lay down, and I'm like, I've been waiting all week for this night of sleep because I don't have to wake up and go anywhere in the morning. And so since 2:30, I just been tossing and turning. I did get a little bit here and there, but like nothing. I wasn't able to get
not clean. Yeah, it wasn't clean.
So this is interesting to me. I wonder why this has occurred. So there's that. But here we are, and Gary's here, which is awesome.
Yep.
So my first bit that I want to start on. Last night I was listening to a podcast. It's called School Leader Vibes, and it's my principal, my vice principal, and another vice principal in the system. The three of them have this podcast. They talk about leadership stuff. But last night, the episode I was listening to had Jamie Rodrigue on, who's also a vice principal in our system, but also Book Club for Men alumni and other cool connections to us. And so I started listening to the episode. It was about AI in education, which lit me up like crazy, which is stuff I want to talk about, but lit me up. And I turned it on, and as it's on, I'm getting in the car to go get dinner for Sarah and I. Um, it's hilarious. There was a blizzard out. So I'm like getting out of my car to go into the restaurant to get our food. I've got the phone to my ear, and it got me thinking. The first thing I want to talk about, it got me thinking that I'm thankful for um, I'm thankful for the listeners we have on our podcast, because
Yep.
as I was listening to the school leader vibes, I was kind of smiling to myself like I'm like, look at the lengths I'm going to continue to listen to this thing while I'm going out to get dinner. Like, I know not everybody's crazy like me, but I'm literally like in the car, the phone's sitting there, I'm driving, I'm listening, and then I'm getting out of the car and I'm bringing it with me and listening. So I was doing all that because I was interested in the content and what they had to say. And it
Yep.
got me thinking how thankful I am for the people that spend their time listening to our podcast
Hmm.
here, there, and everywhere. So big thanks to Gary, Rochelle, Jordan, Carlos, Ramona. Those are like some of the big players that have come and gone. Thanks. I appreciate you guys and gals taking some time out of your day to listen to what Chris and I are talking about. And even next level, they jump in and they comment. I love it.
Hmm.
It's great. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. I wanted to say that out loud on the podcast. That's the first thing. Do you want to say anything about that, or like?
No, it's funny where I've kind of landed on that. This whole kind of like the audience's listening mindset that inevitably comes along with doing pods. But I also feel like I love this as a stopper because it's a good thing, you know, like don't make assumptions, kind of make sure you're being present, gratitude, it's helpful. Um and live fully, like be full in the way that you kind of approach things. So I like this pausing me for a second because it does remind me of all the really cool connections and stuff I have going, what I've got going on in my life right now. So I like this and I appreciate that you're doing this. It's a nice mental correction for a Saturday morning. And in many ways, we have we've benefited from having these moments on the Saturdays, probably more than we would ever need, because I think we land in the spot for each other, like just course, whether it's a course correction or just like right purpose, sort of like anchors, right? So I love that. And at the same time, I'm almost oblivious to the fact now that people may be consuming any content that I put out there. Like I am so content blind to a degree, and this has popped up in other situations where I was talking to someone in real life that has been following my Insta, and so there, I post up writing, I post up photos that fascinate me, sometimes art. I'll do plugs for theater on there, and I was meeting someone that I've known for a while, but I hadn't seen them face to face in a while. And it was actually a week and a half ago. And they said, you know what? I really loved so they did two things. They started to say, I really love your words keep wolves at bay, which is that whole kind of like strange, loose words project that somehow, reading and writing can well, keep the wolves at bay, right? Like we can be better, we can be good, we can share, we can sort of be positive. I think that's a little bit of the backbone without doing too much of a mission statement. But they said, I've been following those posts for years and I read your blog and I've been meaning to tell you. So words popped up just pre-COVID. It was kind of in its small bits, right? And then it's just kind of continued in the background, me posting stuff up. But that was kind of like I was like, yeah, okay, people are reading this stuff. They're sort of taking it in. Um, and I don't have a plan. Like I don't have a plan. It's like the pod doesn't have a plan. It's just come down to showing up. Show up. And like we do on Saturday, I try to do the same thing in my social posts and my writing. Like, and really sort of like go deep in how I show up, post something that really does kind of have meaning, even if it's minor, but it is in the moments that occurs to me. So I like that. I like that you're anchoring me here because it's easy for me just to exist in this space and kind of push stuff out. And I really appreciate it. Like I said, a week and change ago, when the person came up to me and said, yo, that piece that you put up, that short piece, it hit. I like that. Got me thinking for a couple days. And it started to like trickle back in again, this appreciation that, to have that positive effect. I mean, similarly, some of the feedback that we've gotten for BC for Men, you go hard in there posting stuff up. I kind of jump in every once in a while. I'll put something in there, but that's again showing up and just trying to do something interesting, something connected. But again, I come back to I have this kind of like social media blindness, but I don't know if it's blind. Maybe it's maturity. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just maturity. Maybe it's just like, sure, I'll post stuff up that I know I want to provoke, I want to connect. And then sometimes it's just like stream of consciousness. Like I'm just sharing, giving a perspective. So I like it. I like that you've brought this up. And, it happened in the absence of you and I actually connecting to a degree. Like we missed a week. So sometimes, maybe it was like your conscious said, you're going to think deeply about this stuff. There's some discipline there, some exercise. Your brain still wants you to notice and think about these things, even though we didn't land in the pod last week. It's cool. It's like the work reminded you to do the work. It put a little notification in your psyche. It's like, you should be thinking about this. I like that.
It's like muscle memory, right?
Mm-hmm,
like on Saturday mornings at this time, this is when your brain goes into a different mode.
Yep.
And we get to do it together. And, and these days, Jerry, sorry, Gary and Rochelle are with us live. So it's like, it's cool.
Good morning. Good morning.
It works. I think, listening to you talk about your writing, I just realized like I most likely take it for granted. Like I see you post, I read it, and I'm just like, hey, it's Clough doing his thing. Sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like, F this, I can't figure out what he's trying to say. So it's like a brain teaser, some of the things you write and how you write, me trying to make sense of it. So I'd like to shift gears for this week and maybe not take your writing for granted. Because it's so,
thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. It's just like, it's what you do. So it's normal for me to see a post from you that is a poem or an image that is connected to something to get you thinking. Anyway, so wanted to say that. Okay, I want to dive into AI a little bit. Just
Do it.
like, man, so listening to the School Leader Vibes last night, and I didn't finish the episode, but listening to it freaking lit me up, man, because so for me, listening to these guys, there is I know these guys. Like I know these guys. My principal and my vice principal, I've known them for years. So I know how they roll. I know that they're into innovation. They're open to technology and they're open to ideas. They're those type of folk. The other vice principal, I don't know him well. I know him socially, but I don't know, like, I've never worked for him and I've never worked with him, whereas the other two I have. And then Jamie, well, Jamie and I have been connected for a long time and we've done some creative things together. So when I saw what that was about, I was like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this just based on what I know of these guys. And I was lit up. I was friggin' lit up. Too much for a Friday night. Like normally that's not part of my rhythm. So I got into this, like, hit this major peak that I don't hit on Friday nights, but it was good. It felt good. And they were talking about AI and education, and they were talking about the things that most people talk about. How do we deal with this stuff? What comes next? All this kind of, it's good stuff. And when you're with people you trust and you feel like you can say whatever comes to your mind, whether it's good or bad. You trust that the company you're in, the company you're with, understands you, and so everything is like a lift off to another conversation. Okay, I wanted just to share that because I'm currently in and I'm currently in a space. I'm in an in between, okay? Because you know, and anybody who knows me knows, I think the generative AI has a lot of beneficial power for us as just people,
Mhm.
parents, educators, learners. Like there is a lot there. There's a lot there that can be used for good. But there's a lot of stuff happening in the background that's not good. Okay, I get that. So that's the one side of me. The other side of me is that recently I've invested a lot of time into listening to and trying to interact with um, a, a member of my teacher union at the provincial level who has the taken on the dealing with AI, generative AI, and how it's affecting Catholic teachers. And his vibe is is kind of the other side, like more about the caution and the danger, and something he said in a number of his presentations that I've attended, that the creators of these AI machines, that their focus, their purpose does not align with a Catholic teacher's focus and purpose. There's a misalignment. And at first, I would say his message does not strike me well because it seems to come, the first vibes I get listening to him are around fear and not using the he doesn't like calling them tools, not using the technology, okay, in certain ways. At first I was like very walls come up. But time has passed and I'm like, hey, a reasonable learner will take the time to listen to the different messages. So I've after a number of I've attended 4 of his online workshops, one of them at my union meeting, and now I'm starting to just kind of let some of what he's saying sink in. And I'm stuck in the middle. And I'm stuck in the middle because I realize, and I've always known this, there are dangers that these companies are not creating these things to benefit humanity. They're doing it for their purposes, making money and God knows what else, stuff to do with power and politics, okay? But I'm down here and I can see the power of this technology, and I can see how it's positively influenced me because I'm not using it for evil. I'm using it for good. And so because I'm operating that way, a lot of good is coming from this technology for me. I wanted to say that because what I did with it last week blew me away.
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw my Instagram post of it's an image of me, current day, standing behind a teenager on
Mhm.
a bike, uh,
Mhm.
watching a fighter plane taxi to take off. Okay. Dude, that image, that image has lived in my brain since I was a teenager. That really happened. And as I was sitting on my couch going over that memory for the millionth time, I don't, I need to sit down with a therapist and talk for at least a couple of hours to figure out the meaning of that moment. But that image, what you see, that really exists. And I'll tell you how and why. That image, minus me standing behind me watching the airplane, that was my fun with the AI. Put me into it as I'm keep reliving this memory. That memory has been in my brain, brings me joy, brings me peace every time I think about it. And I've thought about it since it happened. I was sitting on my couch and I'm like, I see it in my mind, but I want to see it in front of me. So I used the technology and I recreated the moment. I went to Google Maps. I found the exact spot where I used to be standing or on my bike as I watched these planes taxi in front of me. I took a screenshot of that exact spot. I put it into generative AI and I said, "This is what I want you to do with this." We put a fighter plane in there, the same type of fighter plane at that my memory that experience is part of. And I showed my wife, and my wife is like, "Okay, little you is not perfect. Like the hair." I said, "Hey, that kid was like bleach white, but the skin, I made it a little bit more olive, whatever." She's like, "The hair's not right." I'm like, "I get that, but the hair doesn't have to be perfect. Everything else is. The bike, the exact spot where I used to hang out and watch the planes, like nothing's changed. The fence is the same, the trees are all this, everything's the same. I was there in the summer with my son. Everything's the same still." Um, I said, "Yeah, sure. We could work on my hair, but I was happy with what I had." And then I put me in it, watching it happen. And like, dude, I'm so blown away that I could do that with technology in my hands. And I feel a relief that I don't need to somehow hold that memory in my brain anymore because it's in front of me now. I can visit it whenever I want. So then my brain starts running with other ideas. Crazy, like I can take pictures of my father. I can place my father with me wherever I want.
Mhm.
I can take my family, my current family, and I can place them wherever I want to relive the good memories I have. I was blown away. I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I mean, I've given this technology a blank check. Here you go. Like everything that's mine is yours now. But for me to be able to do that, to me is just absolutely incredible. Like the sky's the limit now. I did it once. I can replicate it as many times as I want.
Mhm.
And I have a place for these. Like I said to my family, they don't really, care as much as I do, but I'm like, you have to see this. This is like this came from my head. This happened to me when I was like 14, 15 years old in that exact same spot. It's not, I didn't invent the spot. That's the spot. I was there. I did this. The only other things, a person looking at that can experience are the sounds and the smell, that stuff that's not there. But everything else is there, bro. And I guess that was a moment in my life um that moment in my life obviously has had an impact on me because, like I said, my brain goes back to that often, that experience, so much so that it brings me like a lot of emotion. And I feel like it's important for me to take take in and feel all the emotion that comes with it. It's not just happy, there's sadness there.
Hmm.
There's other feelings, right? Like
Yep.
it's a lot, but it's almost like I'm open to it. So come at me,
Come at me,
So
bro.
come at me. So when
It's
I
like the
think
big motion. Come at me, bro.
I think about the dangers and the caution of the
Hmm.
technology, and I'm not minimizing that. We need to be cautious. We need to. There's a price for all this. I know I'm paying to have this technology be able to do these things, but my God, dude, if I can do that sitting on my couch with a little bit of brain power, I just think there's so many amazing things that can be done in my personal life, let alone the work we do as educators. The
Hmm.
last thing I'll say without going too deep is the the train has left the friggin' station. It's never coming back. This is only going to get bigger, more integrated in our world and everything we do. It just is. There's no stopping it now. There's no stopping it. It is a virus that is infecting everything and everyone. And there are people who are on the sidelines saying there's danger, there's danger. And I'm like, yeah, there is danger. We can't avoid the danger, and it's a tsunami and it's just ripping through and over everything. And that's my bit. So for me it's like, well, what can I do to what can I do to ride the wave and not get swept under and drown?
Hmm.
What can I do? And then the people around me, what can I do to support them too? So I just wanted to share that.
It's good. It's good, man. Um, I got nothing to trail off that. It's just my only sort of thought is a vague parallel, and it had to do with what you kind of closed with about the train leaving the building kind of idea. Um, and it brings me back to that Insta post that I shared with you, how Elon Musk and his vertical integration, right? So he now has all of his products in like this linear, his all of his ducks in a row, but all stacked, where he actually now can sort of use the tools that he's created to keep creating. They're not separate entities, they're not separate things. He's sort of put them all together like Lego pieces and looking to be on the edge of robotics and AI and going to Mars, like space travel, right? He's doing the future. He's basically writing a blueprint for what the future of these things could be. And he's using the tools that he's created to do it. So,
When I so you sent me that post and I read it, and I was literally sitting here shaking my head like we we can't stop this. Like, because some people are like, we need to stop. It's like he's not stopping. He has so much momentum behind him, so much money, so much influence, so much accessibility to these things that you're right. Like when I was reading it, I was like, wow, wow, the pieces are all coming together. You can't stop that. And what he's doing with it, there is some good to what he's doing, but like we've talked about, X is just like it is not what it used to be for us as like educators and I guess normal folk. Thank God there's still some people on there who aren't just angling to make a buck. I mean, their purpose is to grow their accounts and to grow their brand and who they are, but at least they're doing it in like a way that's not completely, well, I use the word evil a lot, but like they're not moving in that direction. There is some garbage on there now. Like when I go to it, I'm like, oh, really? Like there's just garbage and people talking trash. And it's like, so I go for a couple of people I follow, the hockey. I the other day I posted some positive stuff just because I kept running into negative stuff. But this man has this. And for him, it's growing his empire, right? He's using Grok. Everybody has access to it there, and he's just collecting information, right? Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, it's landing inside of his generative AI model, and he's just collecting. He just If I had that too, I'd be like, yeah, give me everything. Just keep giving me stuff, guys. You're giving me stuff for nothing. Just keep giving it to me because my model's going to take this and it's going to do whatever it needs to do to spit stuff out to help you, hurt you, whatever. He, when you have all that and your focus is to build an empire, to create something that's never been created before and go places we've never gone, that part is good. But there's a lot of the ugly and the bad stuff happening that people like you and I aren't exposed to because we don't go looking for that stuff. That's not what we're about. But there are people about that stuff. And look at the man himself. Look, I know I don't know him personally, but the guy he was once for me, um, he was once for me, like a source of light. Like, look at this guy innovating and creating things that can make humanity better. And I don't view him that way anymore. Um, Based on what I've seen in the media and stuff. I think the guy's just another whack job billionaire, um, who can do whatever he wants to do because of his power and position. He does do whatever he wants. He says whatever he wants, and not in a way that I want my children to pay attention to him, you know? Um, but man, yeah, I read that and I'm like, this guy's building the future, space travel and all that stuff, and just generative AI. It's crazy. When I see that, I think, okay, what can I do as a lowly educator? What can I do to benefit positively the people around me, the kids around me? I'm not walking around saying, come here and start using generative AI. I'm not doing that. But I am using it to help me help them. And when I talk about it, I talk about responsible use. I talk about you still need to use the thing up here between your ears to figure out if you're doing something right or wrong. That still needs to be. I know my wife's teaching that in her classroom in elementary. They're teaching kids about how to live life, how to be humans, how to be good, what is bad, how to differentiate the two. Like, I was there once. That's what we do in elementary school. We teach you how to be a good person. And then in high school, we hope you flex some of that. We continue to teach it just in a different way. So
Mhm.
I'm in a really cool space where I can see it all now. I can see it all. I've been all over the place now. And we're mixing in this technology and we're seeing what people are doing with it. And I'm talking to people like you and other individuals who are open to innovation but are also still interested in building good people. And we talk about how do we manage this? How do we navigate this? Yeah, man. So, um I've been itching to talk about this stuff. And then I was lit up last night with the episode of the School Leader Vibes podcast. I was lit up because I have a connection to those guys.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Anyway, good morning, Rochelle. She jumped in here a short while ago. Those were the two big things I really wanted to hit on today.
Gotcha. I got you.
There is, I'll let you go. There's something else that's kind of been on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what did you think when you saw that Elon post? Like the post about him and what he has and how he's building his
what struck me first. Yeah, what struck me first, and it was the photo, like the picture of him. The picture of him that sort of was the top of the post. It was sort of like a kind of a high gloss, minimalist, stark kind of photo of the dude. And then it just went on to kind of explain the moves that he's made. And I think for me, it was a bit of a meditation on patience, because in order for him to get these things to align, not only is he sort of like cutting edge to figure stuff out, at the same time, figuring out how these pieces fit together 10, 15, 20 years from now. It kind of, that was my takeaway from, like, man, I can't forecast like that. Like, I'll embrace what seems to be new and fresh in front of me, and I'm good with the chaos that creates. But to be able to do that kind of visionary work, and even if I don't like, even if I argue sort of ethics or how he is as a dad and some parts of him that I disagree with, I'm kind of mind blown at his visionary status. So I think that was kind of full stop, what kind of engaged. And then I read I don't often, it ends up being too long, didn't read kind of thing. But as I was reading the script under the photo, I'm like, damn. And part of it is, some of the stuff I didn't know they had his fingers in, but I understood what the product was as it was described. And, this idea of the vertical integration, it's for him, it's just it's a ladder to the future. Like, that's what he's done. He's built an elevator to the future. And by either being associated with a company and then buying it, or adjusting a company after the fact and seeing that it could be optimized in a way for his outcome, right? The big concern at some point was this idea that Asian EVs could be brought into the States and somehow it affect Tesla. And it did in the short term. But this big dude must have been existing on this larger playing field. He's like, I'm good with that, because the Tesla is not going to be my main focus. It's the tech that's embedded in Tesla. So I just need to test drive these things, make sure that it works, it's stable. Go ahead, bring in the other stuff. I'll survive the competition because I'm not there anymore. Like, it's the John Cena moment. Yeah, like, he's like, you don't see me. You're not paying attention to the moves. You're paying attention to the thing that I want you to pay attention to. Well, I'm making these other moves in the background. Now you see me. Now you don't, kind of like a movie, right?
100%. And I remember that from years ago when Tesla was starting to like really blow minds. People are like, he's not about building cars. Tesla's not a car company. And
well, the Tesla, this is why it's connected. The Tesla was a diversified testing place for batteries.
Yes.
And he was at the same time testing, like, what was it, rooftop battery shingles? Like, he was doing another whole experiment, but he needs labs to try these things out in. So it's kind of like, they talk about bioengineering, and they'll post some lab posts, like how they were able to grow the material for a human ear on the back of a mouse. Well, this isn't so the mouse could like have better hearing. It's because they see that there's some synchronicity and synergistic connection there. They could actually just grow it on the material. The mouse becomes material for another experiment. It's not about the mouse. They just notice they can do a thing. And so he keeps enough pressure on Tesla buyers to keep them in the silo until he doesn't need to anymore, because he's transitioned. Everyone else thinks his sales are depleting. Think of all the weirdness, like when he proposed to buy Twitter. They're like, what the hell's he doing? And the great thing is nobody knew. Now we do. He needed it to be able to for a data farm. He knew that he was going to be designing this AI that he was a part of OpenAI in the beginning, right? Yeah. So he test drove Grok while he was at OpenAI. And people are like, poo-pooing, he's out of OpenAI. Well, because it seems like he moved what he had to a different place. So that's, I think, kind of what I was thinking as I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, the way that this guy moves in the background, and then we get a glimpse of what he's working at, you're like, damn, checkmate.
And he's not on his own. That's the thing, right? Like, he is the face of it. But when you have that much money and influence, and you're doing things where people want to be part of it one way, shape, or form. They want to be part of it, or they are part of it as the pieces are being built. He's the beneficiary, like, at the end of the day, because his name is the one he's the face of it.
He's accepted that space.
Right. And long story short, too long didn't read. He's not on his own. There's a team of people there's a team, right? Like, whether they know it or not, they're part of the team building up the empire that he's responsible for at the end of the day. But yeah, I do love that him and his team are constantly 2 steps ahead of everybody else, and everybody thinks, oh, that's crazy, until we get to those 2 steps. They're like, oh, this makes sense now. And then you look at him and you see him 2 steps away again. You're like, oh, that's crazy. It's like, you got to snap out of it, see the pattern for what it is, and know. So whatever he's up to right now, we'll hear about, in 3 or 4 months. It will be like, oh, shoot, that's crazy. But I do appreciate that 2 steps ahead. I do appreciate the forward looking into a future and Jamie talked about this on the podcast. He's like, when the radio came out, everybody was losing their minds. When the television came out, everybody was losing their minds. When cell phones came out, everybody was losing their minds. We are here now. Generative AI is here. It's not going away. It's completely accessible. I can bring memories to life with it, with the consumer products that are available to me. It's nuts what's going to happen next. It's just going to continue to build and continue to evolve. I hope that there are still people who spend all their time talking about the dangers. That's what they're giving their life to that end of it. Hey, there's danger. It's everywhere. We do need some of that. Somebody needs to do that job, but I feel for them, because that's a tough job, because you kind of get left behind. You kind of, unless you're still playing with all the future pieces and not wanting anybody else to do anything with it, but you're using it for like research purposes, you're kind of getting left behind. And I already feel, somebody who's forward facing, I already feel like I'm behind, because it is literally growing exponentially each day. I can't keep up, nor do I want to. It's just too much. I would rather invest my time in other things, but it's whacked, man. It's whacked. Kind of the next thing I wanted to shift to, if it's okay with you, is, so like, how are we dealing with it in our everyday work as educators? I was talking to a couple of friends about this the other day. I don't know if I shared this with you, but in my online learning class from semester 1, and please tell me if, like, I don't know if I shared this with you or not, but I had a student who submitted work and it was like a essay style response to a question or to a prompt. And at the end of his work, he left all the he left all the chat GPT prompts at the end. Did I tell you about this?
No, I'm nodding because just this week, just this week, a cert in our office left on our center table. There's like that center meeting table I've told you about where when Ken
Mhm.
eats her lunch and chats, and just said, "Do you think this is AI?" And it was the same thing. A student had put in an essay, and in the actual copy, so in the body that they copied, there were square brackets that were kind of telling what you needed to put in there, and they left it in. They never bothered to change it. So put your name here, put title of book here. So and we just everyone just one by one put a smiley face on it.
So
So
I had a
similar.
situation. Yeah. Okay. So a kid submitted their work, and I'm reviewing their work, and I get to the end, and there's the section, when ChatGPT creates something for you, because I know this because I use ChatGPT, and I use all the generative AIs, and at the end it's like, okay, I've created for you what you asked for, and now would you like me to turn it into a slideshow? Would you like me to create an infographic? And I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh man. So I message the student and I tell the student, I just took a look at your work, and I'm not giving it a mark because I want to talk to you about what I saw at the end. I have questions. I have some concerns. We need to talk. That's all. Like, I'm not. You get a 0 and you fail my court. No, like, let's talk about this, because it appears to me, and I'm speaking from personal experience, that you use the generative AI technology to create something for you, and unfortunately or fortunately, you didn't delete all the stuff at the end that isn't part of the assignment. So I'm making some inferences and all that. So let's have a chat, because when I talk to you, I'm going to know, hopefully, what this is that you submitted. And then if you need to demonstrate your learning in another way, then we can talk about that too. But I'm not giving this a mark, because I don't accept this right now. This little topic here could, you know, I know it drives some teachers. Some teachers are like, "You're done. You're absolutely done. There's no way you pass this course. There's no way." To me, that's flying off the handle. To me, it's not. There's nobody's addressing the situation. So I'm like, and I'm not saying I'm right and perfect. What I'm saying is, I've always been a proponent of, at the end of the day, whatever you do or submit, you have to be able to stand by it. You have to be able to show that it's yours, or that you understand it in some way, shape, or form. And the product is just a product. So now I want the conversation piece that I can't normally get with the online stuff. It's not meant for conversation, really. Like, it's meant for distance work and whatever. So anyway, um, w- okay, why do I operate that way? Why am I open to a conversation with the student? And if the conversation goes south, like the student looks at me and says, "Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know any of this. I can't tell you. Um, I can't tell you what I did here. I just I put in prompts, and it gave me this work, and I submitted it to you." Okay, well, that's no good, because I don't know what you know. I know what the machine knows, but that doesn't help you. So what are we going to do for you to be able to show me you understand this stuff? While other people are like, hang him from the rooftop, kick him out of high school, right? That whole extreme. Why do I do that? I do that because when I was in school, I had teachers that were ready to just dump me and get rid of me for any mistake I made. And dude, I made a lot of mistakes. And so for me, it's like it all this brings me to the heart of why I am a teacher or how I operate as a teacher or how I see my job as an educator. With this generative AI now, I see this beautiful opportunity to be able to talk to kids about learning and what needs to happen for me to acknowledge that there has been learning there. I think that's friggin' fantastic. Um,
That's
so
key. That's key right there. Because we don't, and I've said this to a few teachers already, it's such a new fluency that we almost have to upend parts of our assessment pedagogy in order to really kind of understand what's going on here.
the last thing I want to say is because of this experience, I'm now shifting gears in, well, I'm going to call it innovation in how I do my e-learning course. So we just started, and as I'm releasing things and as we're jumping into the deep learning, I'm going to start sharing with my students that I'm much more open and I encourage any kind of conversation I can have with a student about the content and about them showing me that they understand the content and can make connections to it.
Mhm.
Like, so this kind of lights me up, right? Because I know if I talk to Gary about it, he'll just sit back with a smile on his face because I'll just talk all day. But I've talked to my principal about this as well. I'm like, this is a great opportunity for me to grow as an educator, but for me to innovate how I do this teaching slash learning with an e-learn course. I I am if a student looks at an assignment and they're like, this doesn't float my boat, Chidiac. Like what you're asking me to do doesn't it doesn't excite me, but I can do this instead. And I
Mhm.
think it will allow me to demonstrate my learning better. I'm like, bring it on. Like, bring it on. I am happy to talk to you on the telephone. I'm happy to do a video call. I'm happy for a back and forth emails. You just give me you input and let me deal with what I see inside of that input, and then I'll respond.
Mhm.
Because what I got from this kid was this is boring as hell. You asked for this. Now, mind you, it's not me personally asking. This is the way the course is. I'm not trying to blow off my responsibility. I'm just saying I can't change the course at will. It was created in a certain way for a certain purpose. So I'm trying to honor that. But at the same time, I want to show my students that I'm a lot more open to their feedback, but I have to train them on that. I don't expect them to know that. So as we go along, I'm going to be releasing, hey, I'm more about this than that. And what I want at the end of the day is I need to know what you know. Like I need to know that because that's what I'm assessing and evaluating. And if you doing an essay or a slideshow doesn't work for you, you might still have to do some of that, but in the conversations we have, I can triangulate in a course where it's not really that easy to triangulate because there aren't usually these conversations happening. So
Mhm.
I'm opening the door for more of that. Some kids will walk down that door. I know they will because as I've been learning how to do these e-learn courses, some kids reach out and they're telling you, I'm starving for more of this conversation stuff. And so what I've done is I've engaged them, but not at a like whole class level. At like
Mhm.
just okay, Jimmy came to me and Jimmy says he really needs these back and forth emails. Of course, I'm going to oblige, and it's not going to be perfect, but I'm not going to just ignore Jimmy and be like, I don't care what you want. Hand in the project. I don't want to email you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Others might. I'm not. So for me, it's like an innovation. but it's come from this is my this is my fourth e-learn course. So I've had experience, good and bad. And, I've told my principal, I want these courses. So if you could please keep giving them to me, I kind of promise you that I'm going to grow and it's going to grow, which is good for everybody. Because at the end of the day, what I want are kids who are successful in the course, which to them translates to a high mark. To me,
Hmm.
it's like, just give me the goods. Give me the goods. Do the slideshow. And even if it's garbage, that's okay because I'm looking for the good stuff everywhere else if you'll give it to me. And some kids, bro, I love that some kids are on fire saying, what do I need to do to be successful in this course? And their measure of success is a high mark. And I tell them, first of all, do everything. Don't not do something. Do it all.
Hmm.
And if you see something that you don't agree with or you don't like, with my comments or my assessments or whatever, then talk to me. Because when we do that, I see something that I wouldn't normally see, or I can guide you in ways that I wouldn't normally guide you. And then we can lead you there. Because for me, it's about learning. And my favorite is when a kid gets an assignment back and says, "Oh my God, uh, you know, I did not do as well as I would have liked. And now that I have your feedback, can I redo or do in a different way and show you that I can learn?" I'm like, "Yeah, you want to do that? Do it. I'm not here to punish, man. I'm here to build." And if you're telling me that you can show me your learning with my feedback, isn't that what learning is? Really? Like, you get feedback, you adjust, you do better, or you demonstrate that you know more, or you can make new connections based on the feedback. Isn't that learning? So I take that and I'm like, what can I do with this? Some kids eat it up. Some kids don't give a rat's ass either. Some
Hmm.
like some kids just don't care, and that's fine too. What you give me, I look for the light, and I tell you, you failed this. So I'm letting you know you failed. You can do it again if you're not happy that you failed, but you failed miserably. So this is what you need to do to retool. Now it's up to you. If you want to redo and submit, I will evaluate and assess and give back feedback. And if you don't, you don't. But at least I gave you the option. To me, that's what a good teacher does. And I'm trying my best to be a good teacher. And I'm trying my best to work with what I'm given to show the people who have given it to me that I'm serious about what you're giving me. I asked for something, you gave it for me, and now I'm going to show you that I'm doing good things with that. So please keep working with me and giving me what it is that I like to do, and I'll keep doing better and showing you that I'm here for real and not just messing around.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, my way of operating, whether people agree with or not, has come from places where, for example, one of the memories I had as I was reflecting on this, when I was in university, I was in my third year of my undergrad, and one of the things we had to do in the third year in my program was we had to take it was basically like a writing course for your final essay or thesis in your fourth year. So it was preparing you in your third year for your fourth year writing so that when you were in your fourth year doing your thesis or your major essay, you weren't caught up in the process of writing. You were caught up in
Right.
the process of, the research and the connections and all that. So I'm taking this course, and the prof was a hard ass, Professor Campbell. I didn't like him. There was like, 70 people in the course, so it wasn't very personal. And I knew right away that I was going to struggle because the way he was coming at it was like hardcore hard ass. And I was like, this isn't going to work for me. So what did I do? I went to the university study center where a friend of mine that I worked for at the university, she was running the student center. And basically, I commissioned her to be like my writing tutor, which I thought, I'm like, this is friggin' awesome, right? I'm doing my job as a student. Um, I'm trying to do well. I'm trying to learn. So I write some stuff and I submit it to him, and he does the same kind of thing, gives it back to me with zeros on them. So I go to office hours. I'm like, what's going on, Professor Campbell? Like, I'm getting zeros. What did I do wrong? He's like, this isn't your work. You didn't write this. I was like, whoa, dude, that's pretty hardcore, like to come at me like that. I said, what do you mean I didn't write? He goes, this isn't your writing. You didn't write this. And I'm like, well, what? Like, how can you make this decision? What do you know about me? He's like, this isn't, I know that you didn't write this. This isn't like, it's good. You didn't write this. You're not a good writer. I said, okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I actually have proof that I did write it. And he's like, well, what proof do you have? And I said, I've been working on all these assignments I'm working on at the university student center in the study center. And so has been mentoring me and monitoring my writing. She's been editing my work and providing revision and suggestions. These are my ideas. This is my writing, but there's somebody who revises and advises. And he's like, no. He was just flat out like, no. I'm like, yes. So I told her. She was devastated. She wrote me a letter to give to him to say that she actually is doing the things I said she's doing. This my work. I submitted the letter, and he was like bothered still. And I'm like, well, you can call her. It says in the letter, call her if you want to talk or whatever. I don't think he ever did call her, but somebody was pushing on me like that, and for no good reason. And even when I proved to him that you're wrong, he still wouldn't let go. And I'm like, that kind of power and control, and I'm paying for that. I was paying like $800 for that.
Mhm.
That kind of power and control we wield as well.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
so for me, I'm like, I'm not interested in being a complete prick. That's not why I think I'm there. And so I'm gonna always offer an opportunity for the kid to do better, to do different, and then
Mhm.
they decide what they want to do. Yeah, man. I was like, always provide the opportunity. If they want to sink their own ship, that's their business. Anyway, thanks for listening to my little thesis there on I'm going to have to refer to this someday. Generative AI, Season 9, Episode 21, 369 is Chidiak's kind of philosophy of education as a secondary teacher, and the work I'm doing, I guess, as an e-learn teacher, and how I'm building on that, I guess. So a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of practice, pedagogy, humanity,
Mm. Mhm.
like, so thanks for letting me do this. Season 9, Episode 21, 369. That's the one. AI when I say which episode was it that I was talking about my philosophy of education and assessment and evaluation as a secondary teacher.
You'll need that for your next interview.
My next interview. God,
Yeah,
nobody wants to
whatever.
hear this. Well, you do it in interviews. You tell them
Yeah,
how it is, and then they look
I
at you
do.
like you're not getting the
Like
job.
yeah, you're not getting the job because you didn't answer the question,
You
which
missed
ends
all
up
the
being
buzzwords.
I didn't answer my question. That's what you say. You didn't answer my question. And then I kind of think, but I did answer a question. And I even answered the questions behind the questions. So yeah, that's
So
okay.
should I or you apply for certain jobs just to go in and have fun with the interview? Should we do that? Or is that wrong?
Well, yeah, I would, because part of it right now, here's what trumps the joy of that. Using up my time for it. So my time has become too rich to sort of take on an activity like that, um, it is likely that I'm going to have some sort of a conversation, definitely with myself. And then, second, if I make it through that first interview of myself, is sometime in the near future, there could be a POR opening up at my school for spec ed. So I have to sort of decide if that complication still benefits me, or am I fine just as I am with the work that
Bro,
I'm doing. So
God bless you if you decide to chase a POR in spec ed. God bless you. I look at spec ed in the way it operates where I work, and I don't want to be running that stuff. I don't want to be, and maybe it's because of there's a number of different reasons, but
yeah,
I don't want to be running spec ed in my school, or even running,
yeah.
not the right word, but you know what I
I
mean.
I've said it like this before. I want to meet myself in that role. I want to see how my learning, my corporate knowledge, my maturity, my age and wisdom. I want to see how that matches up to what goes on in the position. And you can always give it up. That's the
That's
thing.
true.
You can say, you know what? And I wouldn't say the job's not for me. I would actually say I'm not for the job. I am not the person for the job, because the way that the job is organized, I am not thinking to sort of like go in and demo the job in order to make it fit my personality. Like, it's just that work does not make sense to me. So it kind of comes down to finding the place where the job is in alignment with your interest and your future and your your goals, I guess. So, and part of it is because I sometimes operate out of just fascination, and I like challenge for the sake of challenge. Uh, looking at looking at a POR through the lens of what spaces do I still need to develop growth in my career is kind of the best move. It doesn't have to come from this idea that I just want to be excited and on the edge and thrill seeking. It's actually what spaces in my own sort of like skill set could benefit, and holistically also benefit my life away from school. That's a second part to it. That if doing the job doesn't benefit me in my personal life, then I don't know if I want it. There has to be a gain there. It can't just be, somehow the school gets to take the full cut. It has to be 50-50. The school benefits, I benefit. It's mutually beneficial.
Eh,
Um, one thing, there was a quote this morning. I already lost it, but it has to do with, was it self-denying behaviors? Yeah, I mean, it was coming from a caretaker perspective. Like, you invest on this time in caretaking. Who are you if not a caretaker anymore? So I've asked that question. What I loved about it was like, damn, I was asking that question to teachers like a decade ago. Like, understand that teaching should not be your identity.
oh,
You want to bring it back to something that you do.
right.
Something that you do, because your identity needs to be richer, denser, more woven than a singularity of how awesome it is when you're in that building. Retirement is going to break you if school isn't just one part of your life. I actually used this graphic yesterday. I always have like a make a connection title slide on my slide deck. And I scribbled something together that was just one part of a Venn. It was a single circle Venn. I know that's not really a thing, but basically what I did is I put the circle and I have a pointy gift to it saying, "This is your life. This is your life." And inside of it were all the little icons of the life. And one of the icons is school. I said, it's not school and everything. Your life only can take up so much space, and within it, whatever pieces you put, those are the pieces. You can choose to make school a lot bigger. I said, it's unfortunate that you're made to believe that school has to be the biggest piece in that puzzle. I said, but it really isn't. I said, I've noticed time and time again the kids that struggle with this idea that school has to be, and for them it just can't be. But they still want to do well. Like they get it. They want to do a level 3. They want to make connections. They want to have friends. They want to go to social events. They want to do sports clubs, get awards, and kind of like grow. So I had to take the same. I've for the longest time probably didn't. I looked at the work as the soul of my existence, and I just realized that though it's easy for me to work, I don't want to be identified by what I do. I would like to be noticed for the good work that I do. I would like to be appreciated when I do good work, but I also want to be appreciated for my character. I want to be appreciated for my conscience. I want to be appreciated for the vibe that I can sort of put out. So going into a POR would be a sub piece to the POR cannot be any bigger than the dimensions that I attribute to work within my larger life. And I don't want it to artificially or by someone else's, demands force that piece of what school is within my life any bigger than it is. So this is why I look, is there a spot within what I'm already doing for me to put a POR, not to wrap my work in it, not to wrap my daily work in it. So it's challenging to think of it that way, right? If the opportunity comes up right now, my thinking is, putting my name forward for it. It is an empty spot in my bingo card, if you will, that I haven't explored, at least within special education. I did it within alt ed. I was the head for that 6 or 7 years. So I understand some of the leadership pieces of the requirements, the expectations, the responsibilities. I get it. The leadership part, I'm probably would never say that the leadership that I would use was because I became the alt ed head. It's the leadership that I used when I wasn't the intentional center of leadership. It was me understanding systems, making relationships, connecting with people, learning, exploring. But I do that anyways as a teacher. That's the stuff that's feeding into my leadership, right? Back in the day, I would have included PLNs and sort of social media, all that kind of stuff too. So you put me in the interview, I'll answer a question. Will I answer the question? Will I answer your question? I don't think I give a shit. If I can't answer the question how I want to, then I'm kind of tripping over into making the job not about my interests anymore. And I said this to my principal a couple times. Before I got a job with him, I said, I just need someone to see the value in my experience, not the length of my resume. He's like, well, that, and try to answer the question next time. I'm like, maybe, buddy, maybe.
This is when we talk like this. This is like, it lights me up in terms of wanting to be a formal leader in the system.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It really does. But then I think then I stop.
Because because you know the implications of what you just said.
Yes.
Because I think the misalignment is the dream that what you and I are talking about right now can actually manifest in the jobs as they are. One truth that I hold in this, and it's my perception of, becoming an administrator, is that whatever you are saying you may or may not be able to do in those interviews will not come to fruition any sooner than 5 years into the job. And inevitably, the thinking that you develop in those 5 years will make your teacher thoughts that you had interviewing into the VP pool completely erased. You will never go back to that person, ever. You'll have 5 years of experience that will have taught you to be a different type of person. You may have augmented, added, but you're not the same. You're not the same version of leadership that you imagined in that VP interview, just trying to get into the pool. And I've seen it time and time again. The person is different and they can't go back. So if they move forward, that's great. But if they don't move forward, they're stuck and they end up really not liking the job. They're trying to swim back upstream. and try and be that aspirational, creative, go-getter, vivacious, effervescent teacher that someone said, hey, you know what? You should be an administrator. Because the bait and switch is what you notice in the teacher, you likely won't notice in the leader. You have to become something else. I'm not trying to be overly I'm definitely not being bitter, and I'm not trying to downplay the role. I'm just saying you have to accept the momentum. You can't swim back upstream. I think, unfortunately, in this, there are leaders, school leaders, teacher leaders that find themselves on the other end of that recruitment conversation. Hey, have you ever considered administration? For really great reasons, because the administrator does see something in you that is really awesome at the level that you have established. And they believe wholeheartedly that that would be valuable to the administration and leadership of the system as a whole. But you kind of get locked out of it as soon as you step into the job. The job prevents you from operating in that way. The requirements of the job are many, they are deep, and they are complicated. So your first 5 years is survival. If you can stay as a VP after 5 years, because heaven help you if someone says, hey, have you ever considered becoming a principal? Because it's the exact same resetting of the clock. What you just established in corporate knowledge and understanding and connection changes. And I've noticed this as well, because the principal job fundamentally is different than the VP job, just like the VP job is fundamentally different than being a teacher. There is a bit of a locked staircase on this. And you can stand at the door and like kind of listen for the breathing on the other side of the door, but you can't go back and hang with that person. You can't. Not cynical, not negative. And it can sound like that. And I know Gary's in this space where he is moving. I hope for him that in the least, he's found a way to move with the energy of the job. And for anyone that hasn't, maybe taken the courses or sort of have close relations with someone who has freshly shifted from those two things, a big part of it is letting go. A big part of it is letting go. And I think you have to let go in order. There's a survival element, but I think there's also just a voluminous. Like there's so much information you have to be able to action from the get-go. You're going back to that moment of being a teacher candidate, and you're all giddy and happy, and you have some weirdo like me that's saying, okay, on the very first day of teaching, you are officially a teacher. You are contracted officially a teacher. You no longer have the protections of me as your associate teacher. You will walk in on that first day and have all the rights, responsibilities, obligations, and potentially legal problems that a fully fleshed teacher would have. You cannot say, I didn't know. You cannot say that, that you're unfamiliar with the law. You have to be fully invested. VP is the same thing. P is the same thing. I'm sure super is the same thing. And the irony is that you crave to go back because that's where your knowledge comfort is. That's where the security was. That's where the stability was. That was the point that somebody noticed, that you could become the person that you now have to be. And yet you have no access to that information anymore because it's not directly applicable. It's a mind-blowing little bit of close-up magic. But I think you really do. You have to let go. Journal it, keep it somewhere. Don't center your sort of performance on it. Do the work that's in front of you. Grind it out. Focus on wellness. Build relationships. Get mentors. All that kind of stuff. But that's all forward-facing. Let go of what got you there. Because I think it's dangerous to health. I think it's dangerous to stability. You'll burn out. So find fuel as you move forward, and then find some more and move forward. Find some more, move forward.
Good stuff.
Maybe.
Well, good stuff for me.
For us. Yeah, it's good for us. I mean, this is how we roll on a Saturday morning, right?
This is how we roll, yeah.
That's how we roll.
I'll say
Rolling with Rolly
that. And Jimmy,
and Jimmy.
I will say, when we talk like this, and I get that, I feel that energy. You're right. There are layers here that I'm exposed right now, right? It's raw, it's exposed. But in those roles, there's layer upon layer upon layer that takes away that exposure. And
Mhm.
plus, I have a career goal at the moment that I'm aiming at, and it's
Yep.
like I don't wanna move away from that focus at the moment. I'm laser focused on that, and so I'm working towards something, and time will tell if that works itself out or not.
You and I have done, and this is a tricky little bit, and I sometimes say this to, I'll say this to students when, and it tends to be more in a punitive moment, but I kind of say it as an aspirational thing. So your friends have to support the whole you. If they're only supporting the social you or the academic you, okay, they're a useful friend. But if they can also sort of gather your highs and lows and everything you are, I said they may not be an awesome person generally, but I think humans need other humans that will do that. They need critical friends. And that kind of means that they're able to support the good and the bad. I think you and I have done a good job of keeping our eyes wide open and looking directly into the sun, so to speak, and realize we need to have a better understanding of this. When I first met you, I had the sense you had a singularity of focus towards becoming a principal. It was an ingrained, a very deep, emotional, aspirational drive to make it there. Over time, you and I have had enough conversation about what that looks like in reality. And not only that, a healthy perspective taking about how you and I don't operate alone anymore. So whatever the aspiration was back in the day when we were lone wolves, maybe not as deep in the dadhood. And I think that's what's great about Decoded is that we never untether ourselves from our multi-centered life, being a husband, being a worker, being a dad, and then also being an individual. And you start to realize that there's spheres that have to be fed and fueled. And to lose one is to start to chip away at others. So it makes life more difficult. But we also have our philosophy and our philosophical, and in your case, the additional layer of religious, spiritual development to kind of say, okay, but humans have done this and humans can do this. And if we actually also feed our thinking in a good way, we might not like what truth comes out of this, but frig, man, it's truth. And it allows us to kind of take that next step and make a better decision. So it's funny at some point, it was you talking, let's say, about admin. And then I was like, yeah, I don't know. And then I started talking about admin when it seemed to kind of be. And then you and I landed in the space of a really close focus on it, looking at that, walk me through your process. And then something changed. There were parts of COVID that changed it, I think. I think it was just naturally understanding the scope of the job that changed. And then we both came out the other side and we're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a thing. And then you brought it back up again. You're like, well, maybe it's kind of back into the mix for me, maybe. And then something changed again. So it's like these interesting waves, and it's not impulsive. It's rational because I think of them as orbits in our understanding. And I would say right now I'm on a far longer trajectory of orbit that, in order for the administrative thing to come back into my atmosphere, a lot more things would kind of have to happen to sort of make that comet pass again. What I could see is that if I am seeking formal, it's more likely the next opportunity that's going to sort of cross the sky will be, a POR within special education. But again, that's got to match with my already established richness of my life. So I like it. I like thinking this way. This is a very new way. It's a calming way for me to think because it also reminds me of these orbits and things do come around. And if they don't, I'm doing the work to make myself happy and grounded now. So it's like an extra. It's an extra. You were gonna jump. You had, sorry, you went. I saw the inhale and then I just kept on talking. So
I was just gonna say there's an excitement for me right now. It's funny, there's an excitement, but there's also an exhaustion. The
yeah.
2 E's, exhaustion and excitement. There's an excitement because my family's in a place now where I can I feel like I have more of the time. I have more of the time that administration requires, um, that in the middle of my family life, I felt like I couldn't give the time to the work because it would steal from the time of the family. I feel like now I'm coming into a space where I have more time because of my family dynamics. My kids are older, they can take care of themselves. They don't need me the same way that they needed me before. They still need me, just it's a different need. And my wife is doing her thing and she doesn't need me. Not that she needed me before, but when the kids were younger, she needed certain things. She couldn't do it all on her own, just like I probably couldn't do it or didn't want to do it all on my own. We needed to work together. So for me, as I've been going through, it's been like, where do I find that time? How do I give it that time? And now I'm in a space where there's more time opening up. It's like, but do I want to give it to work? Right? Do I want to give it to work or do I want to invest it in other spaces? And that's exciting for me, but it's also exhausting. Like I told you this week, for whatever real reason, I haven't really dug deep into it. I just wanted this week to end. And I would wake up every morning and be like, "Oh God, I have to go to work." And then reflecting, well, why is that a problem? And then thinking, I don't mind my work. I like my work, and I feel like what I'm doing now is building me for what I would like to do next. So that's all good. And then I think I have an excitement, but I have this exhaustion. How do I deal with the two? How do I cancel them out or reconcile them? It's very it's interesting. And then some would say, well, you're in your midlife, so you're kind of you're you know you're in second half, but maybe you're wanting some first half stuff still, but doesn't work like that. What are you going to say about that? You're muted.
You come off of mute. But it's funny, when we did, so the reference to the book club, right? That Richard Rohr book, The Second Half of Life, and you spent the whole big first bit, doesn't necessarily have to be 50 years, but you have this noticeable hyperdrive change where you're not as driven to make money. So the amount of money you now have, it becomes like when you sort of notice a stability, right? Stability. And what we didn't do in the book club, but you got me thinking about, is what does it look like to do renovations on the vessel? Or like, what does it look like in that second half? Because in effect, what you're doing is working on the vessel again. Like you're going back to some of those foundational pieces. And some people make big change. Like, all of a sudden they go from like teaching to like, you know what, I'm going to go into business for myself. Well, that really is foundationally a shifting of the vessel. Like you are destabilizing that first half of life setup. And not now, but I'm going to think about this week is that, have I built the vessel well enough to blow out the back wall of it? And there's still retaining walls, there's still structural integrity, but I can put an addition on it. Or I can do some, you've seen the basement here. I can do some renos on the vessel. And you just got me thinking about this idea, like going back, the vessel, there's a suggestion that the vessel is enough. So you don't have to focus on it anymore. But I guess if I'm being kind of invested in my own life, I would like to think that I can still question the vessel. I can still question what I've actually built as stable pillars in my life and adjust them, tweak them, chip a couple of them out and not dismantle my whole world. This is a good philosophical little mindset to think about this week, because it'll help me look at blind spots. Because stability can also mean like you're kind of going along to get along, like you don't. And really, if stability is dependent on not changing anything, then that's bad. That's bad. I don't want to get caught in that loop where I've established enough stability in my life. And so I'm kind of tapping to what you just said right now. Like, I would agree. I'm in a place in my life right now where my kids have enough of a measured amount of freedom. My spouse is invested in their things. So we're not all focusing on these sort of like chaotic little bits of energy. Everyone's able to manage their own energy. And when we come together, it's by choice. So we actually come together as a family in a different way. We're not having family time because we're trying to have to rush the kids off to appointments and sports and games with friends. They now have the independence and agency and tools that they can go do it on their own. So if stability also means that you can't go back and kind of chip away at some of that vessel, well, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. I'd like to think that I have the agility and flexibility to adjust those things if I wanted to, and definitely if I needed to. So big philosophical frame, but I like that because I hadn't even considered that. We walked away from that book with a bunch of attaboys like, good, you've spent the first 50 years building the vessel. Good. Now slow it down. You don't have to work that way. Do something for yourself. Well, what if what you want to do for yourself is like, I want to fill in that pool in the backyard, right? So you're foundationally changing something about the vessel. I like that. Thank you for that. That's a good thing for me to think about today. The vessel can't be a bunker or a silo. It can't be. Maybe it is. I can't have it like that.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think we made up for missing last week. I know I did.
Yep, we did good.
Thanks for your time today. I'm still lit up about all these topics, but and excited. I'm glad that I can recognize that I'm exhausted, but I'm also excited. And I guess that's the yin and the yang. I still go in, I still do what I'm supposed to do. I still try to help people. But then I come home and it's like, I just want to sleep. And when I wake up, it's like, I just want to sleep. And I don't know why.
And when you wake up.
And when true.
I got you.
This week I've been waking up thinking I can't wait to go back to bed. And then last night I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, I'm up. I don't understand. Yeah. It's the only day that I can actually sleep and not have to get up and go anywhere, and I'm awake. So I don't know what that's all about, but
thanks world.
The universe is talking. I have to listen. I don't know what it's saying.
Yeah, I know.
Gary and Rochelle, thanks for checking us out live today. I appreciate that. It's great for them to jump in, and like I said at the beginning, Rochelle didn't hear this, I don't think, and she's gone now, so she's not going to hear this either, but I'm appreciative of the time people take to listen, because I just realized last night when I was listening to a podcast that it's like, hey, I'm literally taking time out of my life to listen to somebody else talk about a topic, and then do my best to take from that what I will, what I can, what I want. And I thought it was kind of cool that sometimes people do that here. So
yeah,
thanks for listening. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for interacting. Anything else before we shut this one down, Chris?
That's it, brother.
Okay. This was season 9, episode 21, number 369 of the Decoded Podcast. Have a good one, man.
Peace.